The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Welcome, good morning. This is Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're webcasting to you live from the Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. And there was a firestorm of activity on the internet about autism this morning, particularly about Robert De Niro and a film called Vaxxed. And so I want to start the show, you got to address the elephant in the room, right? I want to start the show by saying I am Shannon Penrod. I am not a doctor. I am not anti-vaccine. I am an autism parent and I am a United States citizen and I have questions. And Robert De Niro said yesterday, I have questions. And the firestorm that has come from him saying, I have questions is absolutely phenomenal to me as a person. And I want to say we do live in the United States and you don't have to be a doctor to have questions and to want your questions answered. And I love to ask questions. I think that asking questions is a good thing to do. I think it's part of an educational process. I don't think it's anything to be afraid of. And when people are so concerned about people asking questions, I find myself asking another question. What are you so afraid of? What are you so afraid of? It's just a question. And so you don't have to agree with the question that Robert De Niro is asking at all, but he has a right to his opinion and to ask a question. I think that is what our entire society has been based on for more than 200 years. So I want to give a shout out to Robert De Niro for being brave enough to say that he had questions and for the onslaught that has greeted him since then. He is a member of my tribe. He is an autism parent. And so I support him in his right to ask questions. And that's really what I want to say on that. Having said that, I welcome all of you to this place where we ask a lot of questions here on Autism Live in a lot of different ways because we look at autism from a 360-degree perspective and we talk about all aspects of autism and what it's like to be in this community, whether you're a person who is on the autism spectrum or you're a parent or you're a teacher, you're a caregiver, you're a grandparent, aunt or uncle. If you care about somebody who's on the autism spectrum or you are on the autism spectrum, we welcome you to the show, to the discussion, because what we're about here is making progress. How can we help individuals who are on the spectrum so that they can make the progress that is important to them, not progress by the way that somebody else said this is what you should do, right? But progress that's important to them. As I said, I am an autism parent. My son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2 and he is now about to be 13. And he's amazing and he is not like me and he is not like anybody else, and I'm not looking to make him like anyone other than who he is. But there were parts of my son's disability that were so overwhelming that if he hadn't received help and support, what his choices would have been in life would have been so limited, so very limited. And that did not feel right to me as a parent. And we were very lucky that we got the help and support that we needed. And now my son's choices are limitless. Does he still have autism? Yes. Does he still react to things in a different way from somebody else? Yes. But he is not disabled by his autism anymore. There were disabling aspects of it once before. Anyway, I'm way ahead of myself. We want to hear from you. because what you think and what you care about is so deeply, deeply important to us. And we want to know your questions because you're entitled to them, right? So this show is interactive. Kelby's going to show you some of the myriads of different ways that you can get in touch with us here and ways that you can participate in the conversation that we will keep going. So while he's doing that, I want to remind you that our homepage is autism-live.com. And when you go there, many things to do. Click on the triangle that's on the computer screen and you can be watching the live show with us, or you can watch the most recently recorded live show. If you want to go back further in time from that site, there is a memo button in the upper left-hand corner. You can click on that and you can cycle through the 100 most recent episodes of Autism Live. Now, to the side of all that is what we call the live feature. There's a box there. You put your cursor in the box that says your question. You start typing, you hit enter. There is no cost. You don't have to have a username or a password. You don't have to remember how many symbols and how many capitals and how, no, it's none of that. It's completely anonymous. You get to participate in whatever way you want. You can write your frustrations, your feelings, your thoughts. You hit enter, and it comes here to be on my screen so that you and I can have a conversation. And ever so much more important than that, you can have a conversation with our many guests that we have on the show. And we have a really incredible show for you this morning. I'm really very excited about it. I don't have any of my stuff up today because I'm all a Twitter today. But in any case, we like to start every morning with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym, and we try to figure out what are the experts talking about when they talk about this. What does this have to do with us, and how is this useful to us today? Because I don't know about you, I just don't have a whole lot of time to spend learning terms and facts that aren't useful to me today. I got a job I got to do, and there we go. So our jargon term for today is echoics. What are we talking when we talk about echoics? You see the root word there is echo. This is going to have a lot to do with what we're talking about. So our actual definition for echoics, it's an elementary verbal operant involving a response that is evoked by a verbal discriminative stimulus that has point-to-point correspondence and formal similarity with the response. Okay, if you're not ready to burst into tears or light your hair on fire, then you're not a member of my tribe. I'm just saying, if I looked this up and this was my definition, I would just go, I am no closer to knowing what in the heck are you talking about? An elementary verbal operant involving a response that is evoked by a verbal right? What in the heck does this mean? So let's move on. This is why we do this. Let's move on to our working definition to figure out what does this mean. Our working definition, echoics, is repeating something immediately after it's said. You're echoing, right? You stand at the cliff and you go, hello, 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 right? It's not like you say hello and it goes, how are you? That's a conversation, but echoics is when you are echoing what's been said. Not to be confused with echolalia. When we are teaching somebody how to speak, we practice echoics because we want them to mimic us. So I say it's a pen, and eventually I want the child to say pen, and eventually I want the child to say it's a pen, right? That's them echoing. And there's a program where we teach somebody to echo us so that they can begin the building blocks of speech. Echolalia is when that's all the child can do, and they're just echoing the same thing over and over and over again. It's not purposeful. We will see that children will cycle through a bit of echolalia as they are gaining language, but for our kids who are on the autism spectrum, we don't want them to get stuck there. So echoics is a program in which we're beginning to build a language. Echolalia is a symptom of the child being stuck in a place where we're not getting to language. Does that make sense? When a typical child, a typically developing child, starts to gain language, there's a phase that's quite young where sometimes you'll hear people call them little parrots. And we don't panic about it because we're used to it when it's typically developing. And it's in very young children. Sometimes we will see kids at a year old being the parrot child. So often when it's noticed is when the parent hasn't quite realized, oh, I need to watch my language because my child's picking everything up, right? So sometimes we will see the parent has uttered four-letter words that they don't want to be teaching their child, and all of a sudden the child is saying it, excuse me, and sometimes saying it over and over and over again. And that's when everybody goes, oh, the child is mimicking. We've got to be careful what we say, right? Otherwise, sometimes it's just such a natural progression. We tend to not pay too much attention to it. But when you have a child who's on the autism spectrum and they didn't pick up language, because part of the diagnosis is an impairment in language development, so they don't pick up the language in the way that a neurotypically developing child does. So you've missed that cute little fuzzy stage when they're 1 to 2, when they're parroting, right? And all of a sudden, you've got a child who's not speaking and everybody's panicked and overwhelmed, and there's some behavior that's coming because the child can't speak. So now that's creating a problem. And we get them into an ABA program, and all of a sudden, the child is gaining language, and they're doing it in a way that's very similar to the track that a neurotypically developing child would have, right? But it's in a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. So that echoing thing doesn't sound right, it doesn't look right, and it causes more anxiety in the parents. I just want to point out that it is one of the stages of development. We just don't want to be stuck there. So if you're working with your ABA team and you have concerns and you see them teaching your child echoics and to echo, and you're seeing echolalia, make sure that you talk to them so that you can know what the difference between the two is and how to appropriately work on echolalia so that we flourish language instead of getting stuck in that space. Make sense? Very useful to our kids. It's important that we give them the ability to communicate. That will help to decrease that challenging behavior that we're seeing. If you can't get your word across, you're going to start to behave badly if you can't communicate what you need to people. And I say badly, I mean inappropriately. Things that our society does not accept. You can't. When you're a baby and you're 6 months old, you kick your feet to get somebody's attention, right? When you're 3, you stomp your feet to get attention. When you're 5 and you cannot get somebody's attention, you start kicking people because you can't get them to listen otherwise. We need to give everyone functional communication skills so that we don't have that kind of behavior. All right. Having said that, we're going to move on to our question of the day. We always have a question for you guys. Our question today, it's so funny. I wrote this well before. I wrote this at the beginning of the week, but not at the beginning of the show. The question is, what are you afraid of? I had forgotten that was the question of the day. What are you afraid of? And I meant this in terms of each and every one of us. What are you afraid of? I am afraid of not being there when my son needs me. I mean, I think at the the core of that, in every way, shape, and form that it takes on, I am afraid of not being there when he needs me. And that's a daily thing that I battle about. That means I'm afraid of him being at school and something happening and me not being there at school. And I have to deal with that fear and hope that I have gotten him to a point and his team has gotten him to a point where he doesn't need me at school. I am afraid of, there have been lots of instances of autism parents who don't live to be 1,000, right? I am afraid of what happens to him when I'm not here. And I think everything that I'm afraid of rotates somewhere on that axis. What if Jem needs me and I'm not there? Whoo, right? That's what I'm afraid of. And it's funny that I'm not afraid of him not being able to handle things. That's not it. I'm afraid of me not being there and him thinking or feeling, oh, I wish my mom was there. So, I work on that and I find ways to be productive to make sure that he's covered, either through stuff that he can do himself or people that can help him if I'm not there. I shared last year that when We had somebody on the show yesterday who was talking about how to, put together your financial life for now and to save for your child for later on. And if you're not here, all those contingencies. And one of the things that I have been able to do is to identify people in our lives that I've assigned different tasks. There are 2 people who are assigned that if my husband aren't here, that they have custody, but there are other people who are assigned to, be the person who helps him if it's a autism related ABA thing. There are people that are assigned to make sure that he is raised to understand good theater, because that's important to my husband and I, right? There are, we have godparents for very specific things, and that makes me happy and less afraid, because I know he will have a core of people that he can go to if he has questions if I'm not there. But what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And what are you doing about it? And is it stopping you from doing things that you want to do? We'll talk about that. Now, we always have a topic for our week, and our topic this week, mine isn't coming up, Kelby. Our topic this week is targeting progress, and there can't be anything better than that, because we can descend into discussions about why me, why is this happening? And I'm not saying that those aren't important conversations. They are, and it's important to have those conversations with people that you trust, and to make progress on that. But the truth is that if you already are diagnosed with autism, or somebody in your family or somebody that you care about is diagnosed with autism, there are things that you can be doing today to make progress for yourself and for them. And that it's important that that's always the direction that we're moving in, that we always recognize that that's key. Progress, moving towards progress. I don't think that there's an arrival. I don't think we're ever done. It's funny, I was in a conversation with somebody last night about when is your workday over? And I have worked places that my workday came to an end. The store closed, right? Here at Autism Live, the store doesn't close. The workday is never over. We have to call it at some point and say, we've done as much as we're going to do today, but the job is never going to be done. And my job as an autism parent is I'm not going to arrive. There's not a finish line. It's so, it's important that we pace ourselves, but it's important that we keep moving in the direction of progress, that's where the dial is pointed. Does this help us to get to the progress? Okay, then let's move in that direction. And every time we take one step, it's meaningful. It's absolutely important. It doesn't mean that we are done. So we're going to be talking about that today, targeting progress. We've got some great people who are on the show, like all different ends of the targeting progress. So in just a few minutes, we've got, I don't know whether we're having 2 or 3 people from Spectrum Laboratory. They have been on the show before, but not with me. They were on the show with Love My Provider. That they were doing a segment with Love My Provider. But thrilled that I get to welcome them to the show, because I think what they're doing is so super important. They're going to talk extensively about it, but you're going to love, they're working with individuals who are on the autism spectrum, using music and film and helping them to create their own music and their own short films that are brilliant. And they've got a new project that they're working on that you can help to support as well. But trust me, if you're going to want to see the videos that they do, we find ourselves humming their tunes here at Autism Live. Also in the show today, we have the fabulous Alex Lynn and Ned Spector. We talked a little bit yesterday about this great event that's happening at the end of the month on April 29th here at Universal City Walk. It's Autism Rocks LA. Alex Lynn is a 17-year-old junior in high school with an Asperger's syndrome diagnosis, and he is amazing. He's been through a lot, but his way of dealing with what he's been through is to try to make that progress, move the dial through music. and creating an environment and an event in which people will look at autism in a different way. He is paired up with a fabulous, mensch is the word that comes to mind, Ned Spector, who works in promoting concerts and events of this type. They've paired together to create this wonderful event. James Durbin is the headliner, and a lot of individuals who are on the spectrum are going to be performing. Again, it's at Universal City Walk here in Hollywood on the 29th. And so Alex and Ned are going to talk with us about how this came to be. You're going to love it. And then we have a special guest who's going to join us from Rocket Laces. This is a gentleman that I met 2 weeks ago, and he came up to me at the Autism Walk and he said, you know, we make inventions that make life better, and we've come up with this invention that helps individuals who are on the autism spectrum to be able to tie their shoes and to learn how to tie their shoes in an easier way. You know, this is one of my passions, finding a better mousetrap for the shoe tying thing. Well, welcome to Rocket Laces. You're going to love it. So he's going to be here. We're going to demo it. You're going to see for yourself, how can a shoelace be better? They found the way. So all of that and ever so much more. Stick with us. More Autism Live coming up after these messages.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm Lisa Ackerman with Taka. My
Hi.
guest here,
I am Jennifer Lucero with Taka.
Taka Mom is here in the house. Jeff saw on a TV commercial, they were making calzones, and he looked at me and goes, Mom, please make me that. Wait a minute, yeah, calzone, you can't have calzone. He goes, well, you make me pizza. Why don't we call it a puzzone? So we're gonna do this ode to Jeff, puzzone. So I'm gonna have Jen come on in.
All right.
You're on charge.
Ready.
We're gonna add a little grapeseed oil, garlic, cut up chicken, finely cut up onion, and we're gonna throw a little bit of basil. So we're gonna just take about 5 minutes or so, saute up the chicken and all of the onions together. While Jen is slaving away at the stove, I'm gonna make the pizza crust. A lot of gluten-free choices that you have out there for pizza crust. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the dry. Again, I'm using eggs. There are a lot of egg replacers on the Taka website. We have about a dozen different ways to replace eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my shortening. Calls for a little extra salt, which I'm gonna put in here. And also add a little pepper. And we also have herbs de Provence that gives the crust a nice Italian flavor. Can't forget the apple cider vinegar, organic stuff ready to go. Yes, I have all my ingredients. We're ready to rock with this mixer. And don't be afraid of dough. Dough doesn't bite. So here's what we'll be working with to make the puzzone. I'm ready to go. Let's get this party started. So what we're gonna do next is roll out the dough. I like to be rolling in the dough, but we're gonna roll out the dough instead. So let's go ahead and get started here with that. So again, you see me using the parchment paper all the time. Love this stuff. It's basically unbleached, ready to go. It's just gonna make life a lot easier on your rolling pin. You don't need to coat it or anything, which is a lot easier, but I swear I should buy that by the gross ton. So the puzzones, this basically makes 2 big puzzones. I'm gonna take half of the dough and roll it out. Half of the other dough will be for the other puzzone that we're gonna make in just a little bit. So you wanna you're not making a pie crust, you're kind of making a long oval shape. So we're gonna try to make a shape where I'm gonna basically roll this over with all the yummy fillings. And so any combination or variation thereof, this sauce, just real simple, is organic crushed tomatoes. I've added a little bit of salt and pepper and herbs de Provence in that as well, which I love. I like extra fresh basil. That's always yummy to have on your puzzone. And thank you, this turned out fantastic. So we're just basically building it the way that we want to eat it. Of course, my favorite rice-free, organic, dairy-free, soy-free cheese. it's going to pop off the sides.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of popping out the sides. So that's the beauty of the parchment paper. Once you're done, you just flip it over and peel it back. So I'm just taking a fork now and going around the edges. It looks so pretty.
Looks really nice.
So for 400 degrees, we're going to go for about 25 minutes. You want it golden brown. And because we cooked everything pretty much already, you're not worried about not having everything fully cooked. So look how
Yum, yum.
cute those look.
Looks great.
Like there's 4 happy people right there. This
sure.
weighs a ton. So let's go to the magic oven. Pull out our finished product. And voila!
good.
Oh my
It
gosh,
looks
this
beautiful.
is so yummy. There's nothing better than a little Jeff Ackerman pizzone. And this is going to be nuclear hot, but we'll go ahead and cut it
Careful.
open so you can. Oh my gosh, this is going to taste so good
That
later
looks
on for
great.
your kids.
Yum.
Feedback, keep it coming. Thank you for helping, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Come back to Autism Live. We'll keep doing allergy-friendly cooking classes. If you have any suggestions or things that you would like to see us make, bring it on. You can reach us at autismlive@gmail.com or Facebook.
Love the Facebook.
I know, too much for me. Facebook, so facebook.com/autismlive, or thousands of taco recipes ready to go. Basically go to Takanow, TACANOW.org, and we'll see you next time.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get.
Welcome back to Autism Live. You know, it's a Mindful Thursday, and sometimes I just said to Kelby, I said, you know, yeah, let's do the mindless thing. Because sometimes that's what it feels like. And we've been mindless a couple of Thursdays in a row because the shows were so packed we didn't have time. I want to take time, though, to talk about giving yourself an insurance policy, a mindful insurance policy, that when we are stressed and we're in the moment, it's kind of like dealing with a tantrum. You know, you have to do a different kind of intervention. It's not the time to go, well, you know, we really should do more meditations when you're in the middle of the stress thing, right? Just like during the tantrum, you don't go, well, you don't have time when things like that are happening. So what we want to do is take out mindfulness insurance policies throughout the day and throughout the week. And what I mean by that is taking a moment when you don't need it to get your breath centered and take a moment just to breathe. Now, you can do this on your own, or you can listen to a recording of somebody. We have on our blog, and we give the cards out whenever we go to events, meditation for stressed out parents, which is 11 minutes long. I know 11 minutes is a long time, but it's not an hour, right? It's a shorter meditation. And if you don't have that much time, there are lots of things that you can do that you just take the break for that moment. We've talked before on the show about how 3 deep inhales and 3 deep exhales are an amazing thing to do and that can recenter any moment. You can absolutely do that in the middle of a stress moment. But if you take out the insurance policy and do that on a regular basis throughout the day, I think what you will find is that stress, when it does hit, you handle better, and that the stress moments happen fewer and farther between. Now, there's a GIF that's going around right now that's geometric shapes, that it's basically a training tool to get you to breathe and take a big, deep inhale. And if that helps you, it's an easy thing and it's free. You can just Google GIF for mindfulness, and it will come up. It shows you, it's just a little video that's, I don't know, like 8 seconds long, and it shows a flat line, and it tells you to breathe as it expands and then exhale as it contracts. And so the line goes into a triangle and then goes into, I don't know what a four-sided shape, geometric shape, and it just expands into more shapes, and then it collapses back down, and you just breathe. You inhale and exhale, and you only have to do it 3 times, but you can do it as many times as you want to. And I think once you've done it a couple of times, you realize, oh, this isn't that hard. I can just breathe on my own. I don't even have to have the GIF playing, but I think the GIF is a great visual to start with, and it's a great thing to give our kids. There's something hypnotic about it, and the kids will hang a little bit longer. It feeds that visual part of their brain. I do think after you've done it many times with the shape contracting and expanding, you can then picture it in your head if you're somebody who's good at that. For our kids, though, it can be a really useful thing for them to look at. But so don't wait until you're stressed. Take out that mindful insurance policy. Do it in the morning, do it at lunch, do it at dinner, do it before you go to bed, and I think you'll find that you will be less stressed. And you don't have to set a limit on it, but even just doing 3 breaths is enough to change the day. It's an insurance policy against everything that's coming your way. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with more Autism Live after these messages.
Hi, I'm Kara Kaczynski, the Pocket Occupational Therapist, and we're here in Dallas, Texas at the Future Horizons Autism Super Conference. So the book is the Special Needs School Survival Guide, and it's everything you wanted to know about school. It is, okay, so it starts out with just different diagnoses that you might see, and then I explain them in clear terms, no technical jargon, and then each little diagnosis area has about, 50 to 100 activities that you can do at home or at school or cheaply and effectively. So it's just full of information that you can use right now. And the cool thing about it is at the end of every chapter are resources that you can use and access in the internet from a computer. And it's not just for kids with any diagnoses either. It's for kids that are just having trouble with handwriting or with dressing in school or transitions too. Well, both of my kids are on the autism spectrum, so it's important to me that when I learn something for other people, as I research it for occupational therapy, I want to try it at home. So then I take what works and I put it in a book, and what doesn't work gets thrown out the window. And the other thing is I've just started to research for webinars, because our kids, if our kids are aging, so they start out these cute little babies with autism, and now they're getting to be teenagers and young adults, and we need help with modifying the environment for them, transition planning, and especially for IEP goal writing, for functional things that they can work on, not just handwriting, but then going beyond into the transition to young adulthood. Yeah, the misnomer at this point in the school systems is that we just do handwriting. So we are actually not handwriting teachers. We can modify or help rectify a grip that's inefficient. So if a child doesn't have that nice, pretty little tripod grasp, we can help to get that. However, when the kid's in 2nd or 3rd grade, then we look at efficiency. So if the grasp is efficient, if it's a quadrupod grasp, or if it's some kind of funky grasp, and the child can write efficiently, then we leave it alone. But if not, then we go to electronic accommodations. So OTs then can look at keyboarding and what kinds of keyboards would fit the student best. Also sensory processing, as the kids get older, it looks different. So we can look at sensory processing as it relates to function in the school. And then we also can look at behavior and transition planning. Other things we can do is work on seating. So if the child's having trouble sitting still in the classroom, we can modify that too. So not just handwriting, not just sensory, but we look at behavior, transitions, so anything that affects that student's school day. Right, so that's a really good question, because sensory processing disorder did not make it into the last DSM, which is the way that medical professionals classify disorders. So it did make it into the classification under autism, but sensory processing disorder is very confusing, and a lot of therapists treat it differently. So the general overview is that sensory processing is either a heightened response to stimuli in the environment or a too low, which is hypo, response. So if the student perceives every noise around them is equally as important, or every feeling, so I'm sitting here, I can feel the chair, my sweater, the noise around me, then it's hard to concentrate and focus in the classroom on what you're supposed to be paying attention to. So we would use something, maybe a suggestion could be a weighted lap pad or some kind of fidget tool for the student to fidget with, or we can even look at special positioning in the classroom, so preferred seating. Then with sensory, transitions can be hard because any unexpected bump in the classroom or in line can set the child off into a fight or flight, which is when they really have a tantrum and freak out. So when they're in a fight or flight mode, they may fly off the handle for no apparent reason, maybe just being bumped by another student. So it's our job to be detectives and to figure out why the student is having that meltdown. So my CDs were created for my own kids my son in kindergarten didn't like the fire drills. So he was afraid to even step foot into the classroom because the fire alarm may sound. Of course, the school's not going to say, oh, let's just set up the fire alarm for your son, Bob. So we thought, where can we get a fire alarm? So we went into a recording studio and picked a whole plethora of sounds that you couldn't control, fireworks, thunder, sirens, and we put them on a CD, and I wrote nursery rhymes, changing the words to blender, blender, it's okay, or different little, Mary had a little lamb is something to do with thunder. So they're kind of fun, and that way the student can control the volume of the sound. It's not a listening therapy, there's no headphones involved. It's just a fun way to control sounds that you normally couldn't control. So they're for sale at my website, thepocketot.com.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm so excited because for the first time with me here, but it's not your first time on the show, you've been on in a segment that we did with Love My Provider.
With Sarah, yeah.
But first time with me, so it's special to me. We have Jason Weisbrod. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
And Garth Herberg. Did I get it right?
That's it.
Okay. But they are from Spectrum Laboratory. I have been admiring you guys and your work from afar for quite a while, so it's very exciting to me that you're here with me. It's really unique what you guys do. I think it's wonderful. We need more of it, and people need to know about what Spectrum Laboratory is doing. They need to be watching your films, and they need to be participating, and we're going to tell them how in a moment that they can. But one or both of you explain what Spectrum Laboratory is.
I can kind of start. We started, Garth and I have known each other for a long time, and I started off as a filmmaker, and Garth started off as a musician. And I made independent films, and he was in bands, and so we started getting involved with the autism community. I've been in the autism community for almost 10 years now. I worked for the Miracle Project for a while. And then Garth and I one day just decided, what if we just actually make films and music with a bunch of the awesome people and talented people we know in the autism community. Yeah. So we looked at each other one day, and I was like, you want to do this? And Garth's like, yeah. And so we were like, all right, here we go. And we just kind of launched, and we started a nonprofit. We got our 501c3 tax status in the first year, and so far we've made a bunch of music videos and short films. And if you want to talk a little bit about the music process.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we have like 3 records, and every round we do 4-month sessions with our students. Yeah, there's one missing from the bunch.
Missing, but yeah.
2 out of 3.
We have 3 records, yeah.
It's so hot you can't get a copy of it.
Yeah, they're just selling like hotcakes.
That's right.
Yeah, so we every 4-month session we make another record, and we put on a festival. And I think a lot of the inspiration behind this was to give our students to be part of a creative process where they have something that they can call their own. They have this record, or they can go online, they can say, check out this film I was in, and they can share it. There's a sense of pride, a real sense of community with all the artists working together. And we also give them a stake in what we're doing. So, when we sell enough records to pay back the cost of printing our CDs, we start to pay back all the artists that make the records with us. So it's
we were able to write all the artists who were on the Jamboree. This was our first CD. We were able to cut all of the artists who we recorded and were on this. We cut them checks, and they were ecstatic. So it's a beginning. It's a beginning of trying to get artists, if they really want to be musicians, if they really want to be actors, if they want to be singers, if they want to be cameramen, whatever, editors. I'm working also. We work outside of class. mentoring some students as well. We're mentoring Rio Soul Shaka Wiles,
Yeah, Rio.
trying to
He
get
was
his
just with
career
us,
going.
Was it last
Yeah.
week or the week before? He was with us for a hot minute.
Oh yeah,
in the
he's
studio.
amazing. Yeah. We have a music video we did with him with Lucas Saluski called Snake Monster.
I have not seen that
He's
one.
got an amazing
It's a good
rap
one.
in that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so we're just constantly. I'm doing video editing mentorship with Jake Tashjian, and he's starting to edit a lot of our videos. So through this music kind of song story writing of music, we come up with lots of music video ideas, and then we start talking about, oh, how can we turn these into little films? So the process comes from the music a lot.
And one of the things that's evident when you see anything that you guys do is there is joy.
Yeah.
There is absolute joy. You see that the kids are excited, and I say kids, but how old is
I
the
know.
oldest?
I've known some of them since they were 8 or 9. So
Right.
yeah, I still say kids, but our oldest is 24.
Right.
Our youngest student is 12.
So these young people, you see that they are passionate about their craft. They take pride in it. The work that you guys put out has humor. It's multi-dimensional. We loved first of all, is it called Big Mouth?
Yeah, with Dominique Brown.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Dominique has been on the show before. We laughed hysterically. And then what's the one about? Is it chicken wing?
Chicken bone, yeah.
Chicken bone.
Lucas is making a love on a wishbone. He wishes that he could fall in love with Miley Cyrus.
And my son loves that one in particular.
Yeah,
These
chicken
are
bone.
these are wonderful,
Chicken bone.
and these are videos that people could go and watch and see the level of the work that you guys are doing. Where do they need to go to be watching?
You can watch everything we've done so far up to date on www.speclabs.org. So SBECLABS.org. And that's all the music videos, all the short films, everything we're working on.
And you're getting ready to work. You've already started a little bit working on a very special project, and at least 2 of the people that are featured in it are people that have been semi-regulars on our show. Because Spencer Hart is an amazing talent. You guys have heard her sing on the show before. She's an opera singer, and we just love her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
We love her so
and
much.
Danny Bowman, who has been on our show many times, who is a very talented young artist, an animator who teaches animation. She's absolutely brilliant. But then you have other people involved with this. Tell the folks at home, and then we're going to show a video. Do you want to show the video first, or do you want to talk about it first?
Let's show the trailer, I
Okay.
think, and then we can talk about it. Yeah,
All right.
that'd be
So let's take a look. And the name of this.
It's the name of the short film, animated short, is going to be called Chloe, an Orphan Story.
Okay, take a look.
Hi, my name is Chloé, and you're the trailer. La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs a des reflets d'argent. La mer des reflets changeants sous la pluie. La mer au ciel d'été, qu'au fond ces blonds moutons avec les anges si purs. La mer bergère d'azur infinie. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat.
Thanks for watching and supporting
Artists with autism.
Merci beaucoup.
Welcome back. So that's the trailer.
That is the trailer.
And we were talking about the fact, I mentioned Danny Bowman before, who's now working on the film, but that was not her animation.
No, a brilliant animator named Lauren Kissich, who is friends with Garth. We got together with her, and I told her kind of the outline of the story of what I wanted to do, and she created a whole storyboard. and animatic, and that's what I used a lot of for the trailer. Yeah.
Well, it's really cool, and I can't wait to see, because we love Danny's work too.
Yeah, so Danny we got involved with because one of our board members, who was like an angel for us, Bob DeMarco, was like, you should really call Danny up and get her involved. And I've always wanted to work with Danny for years and years and years. I just think she's amazing and such an inspiration. And so we set up a meeting, and she immediately was like, yes, how can I do this? I want to be a part of it. Let's do this. So we're teaming her up with Lauren, and Danny is going to teach some of our students how to animate for the film.
Yeah,
so
that was the twist.
Yeah,
we were not expecting that in the meeting, and then all of a sudden on the table she was like, I can teach your students how to do this. So it's so exciting. We're going to get a lot more of our community in on the project than we expected.
Very cool. But you can't make that much of a movie without some budget.
Yes.
And part of your mission is that you feel that it's absolutely important that you be able to pay these young people for the work that they do.
Yeah, one of our mission with Spectrum Laboratory, a big part of our mission statement is to empower young artists with autism to go out and seek, some form of job employment out there, and to really get excited about it. So we're kind of a stepping stool towards finding out what they're excited about. So as soon as we did this project, I'm like, I can't just hire animators to work on it and get it done. It wouldn't be done the right way. So the big mission behind it is to collaborate with entertainment professionals, with people, artists with autism, and make it together as a team. Absolutely. And yeah, we have, in order to do the animation's expensive. Yes. So we started figuring out how much it would really cost to make it, and then I said, why don't we just take the money, let's raise money, and pay artists with autism to make the film, instead of just raising money just to make it with
which is a smart thing to do, but it requires that everybody step up and donate. So you have an Indiegogo campaign going right now, as we just saw in the trailer. Best place for them to go is to speclabs.org, and there's a link.
Yeah, right on the front of my webpage, I put a link. There's the poster, the Chloe and Orphan poster. You can click on it, and it'll send you right to the Indiegogo campaign. Okay. Or you can go to Indiegogo and just type in Chloe and Orphan story, and I'm sure it would pop right up.
And is there any amount that's too small for people to send?
No, you can donate. Somebody just yesterday donated $5, and I was like, yay! I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever you want to give.
It adds up, and we all talk about wanting to move the dial, change the way everybody looks at employment, right? But you got to put your money where your mouth is, and it can be $5. So that's you not going to Starbucks today. Can you do that to be a part of this project and this kind of thing? I think we can all suck it up and not go to Starbucks today.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Speclabs.org. So talk to us a little bit about, you said a session. When you have a session, and you were talking about it, 4-month session?
Yeah, they're all 4 months. They sort of parallel the school semesters. So we do it in the fall, and then we also do it in the spring. And with each session, we also have a festival. So we work with our students, we make our record, we make short films, and then we put it on display. And that's at SpecFest. And during that time, we have typically around 300 people that will come at this point. And they get to interact with the public. They get to watch their films and music videos on a huge screen.
Yeah, it's a huge screen. We do it out at the Huntington Center. And it's a huge screen. Andy Citos is a great friend of ours.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. He gets this room for us, and it's just a huge screen, and it's made for theater, and we have all these seats lined up, and also the band Garth has been putting together this amazing band.
Yeah, I always try to put together a band to mix with pros that I know, and then musicians that are in Spec Lab, and it's actually really exciting because this session that we're in right now, I put together a Spec band. So a lot of our students are now on instruments playing together, and they will be performing at Spec Fest.
Dominique Brown's on guitar, and it's really exciting. They're going to play some Spec Lab jams on stage. Yeah.
So where are you located?
We teach out of Leo Beck Center on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's over by the Getty Center off the 405. Los Angeles, and then the band, and we have band and improv class. I'm starting a whole improv comedy troupe. where I've got eight students right now, and we just get together. We have tons of fun. We do a bunch of improv games, but I'm teaching them the art of improv because a lot of them want to be comedic actors.
Right.
So we're trying to develop a comedy troupe to actually go to clubs and get gigs and go out and be an improv team. And that's at we teach that out of Music Space Studios in the Valley. So we have a class in the Valley on Saturdays, and then we're in Monday and Tuesdays at Leo Beck.
And as young as 12?
Yeah, yeah.
And as old as no limit?
We really don't have a limit.
Okay.
Yeah, and we want to start a youth program on Thursdays, possibly. So for people who are 12 and 13, 14, so maybe we could, and new people, like an intro kind of to Spec Lab class. So people haven't taken Spec Lab before, they won't get thrown into the mix with everybody who's, people just like an introduction class. They can come, do music, do films, do like a kind of combination of everything for younger people.
So if people want to know more, if there are people in the area that want their young people in their family in a session, they would go to speclab.org.
Yeah, speclab.org. We have classes heading there. Check out what we do. If you're interested, you can contact us right off the website, and we'll get right back to you. Yeah.
I see because many of the students that you have that are, you call them your students? I mean, or
I like to call them artists.
You're artists and you're collaborators.
Yeah, I go back and forth with students, artists.
Students and artists, yeah.
We see them at events, and we've had a lot of them on the show. Atticus Baldwin has been on the show, and we kind of just adore the ground that he walks on, right?
It's hard not to, yeah.
But
He's
I will
amazing.
say that there is something special about them that I'm going to attribute to the fact that they know that they're artists, and there is a self-esteem that is there because they know that they're artists. And as you said, they can point to and say, here's some of my work, here's some of my work. In this world of, especially here in Los Angeles, when people ask, so what do you do and what have you done? Here are these kids, some of them adults, some of them young adults, some of them younger kids who have things to point to. And there's a normalcy, a heightened normalcy about that that's like super cool for them, I think.
It's cool for anyone to have that, and especially young people with autism who usually don't have opportunities like this. I mean, it's just thrilled to see that. It's so cool. And we've just been doing it for like a little over a year. So
yeah, it's almost a year and a half now.
It's going to be so much more that they have to show for what they can do.
Yeah, we went and saw Temple Grandin speak, and she said, show them what you can do. She kept saying it over and over again, show them what you can do. I looked at Garth, and I'm like, and this was like right when we were starting, and I'm like, let's do that, let's show them. So, I mean, it's amazing. Baldwin always has his phone, and he was telling me how when he went home to visit his family, he was going to play his Kelby song, and he was going to show them Atticus and Atticus. We do a web series with 2 Atticuses called Atticus and Atticus, and he was like, I want to show them the Tale of Fishmas, and so he can actually go home. And a lot of the parents say they love it because when they do visit their family, they watch this amazing music video or this short film.
But wait, you got to back up. There's a Kelby song?
There's that. Okay, so right.
Because he and Kelby got along so well.
Yeah,
is the Kelby song about Kelby?
He might have named the character after you, man.
I think the song is about you, Kelby.
It's a big furry monster that's got horns and teeth, but he's the friendliest monster ever. I mean, how's it go?
Yeah.
My
It's
name
Kelby.
is Kelby. I'm a big friendly monster. Yeah.
I have big teeth and claws, and I don't know.
And I'm very shaggy.
Very
He does a shaggy dance. Very shaggy.
I think we have to have Atticus come and do the Kelby song because
I'm actually working with him on editing a music video for it, so maybe he could show it if he can.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely, because Atticus and Kelby got along so well. They were doing all kinds of things on the soundboard here,
awesome.
and they were fast friends. So I wouldn't be surprised, Kelby, if that is in fact you were the inspiration for that.
He's pumping his fist. He's doing a little your
big break. But we have seen that with others of the students as well, that there just is a self-esteem that comes with that. And we've had the opportunity to interview Temple Grandin many times, and she has talked about, when you ask her, and I've interviewed her mother too, and if you ask both of them, what are the things that set Temple up for success? One of the first things that they both point to is being active in her community theater, learning all the lessons that she could learn about acting, because it gave her an opportunity to try on other things and other people and to learn how to behave in other ways, and that wasn't hurtful or harmful. and that she could still be herself but behave in different circumstances in different ways. So I think you guys are, and Temple talks all the time about employment, I think you guys are right on it.
Oh, thanks. I mean, we just really love creating what we do with all of our artists, and it does bring us much joy. And if other people can share in it, and they know if they buy a song or if they, even watching a video will help. And, so any way of just getting involved with the community and checking out what we do and supporting us is
You have to
great.
check out the videos. They are so much fun. And knowing, now is everybody in the spec lab and everybody in the videos necessarily on the spectrum, or is it kind of inclusive?
It's inclusive because we don't just we put like in Chicken Bone, a really talented singer, a friend of Garth Cayley, was in that video with him, and she was singing in the background. And so we have a lot of actors and musicians. My really good friend Jeff Lorch is an actor, and he helps direct and write with us, and he gets in there sometimes and acts. And I hire cinematographers who work in the film
looks
business
like
to
it,
come.
too.
Yeah,
It
I mean
does.
they come and they help out and they give their time. My good friend Peter Casanetti came and shot the whole day on the beach with us for the Atticus and Atticus, and he's working all the time, and he gave his time on the weekend to come make some cool films and music videos with us. So
It's
we
super
bring in
smart.
our friends, and they all love it too. I mean, as soon as they haven't met,
Right.
as soon as he met Atticus and Atticus, he was like, well, of course I have to hang out with these guys.
And there are two, the Atticus and Atticus, it's because there are two Atticuses.
There's two.
Atticus-I.
Yeah.
I don't know what the...
Atticus Baldwin and Atticus Cowger. We just call them Baldwin and Cowger.
and they're both super talented.
yeah, they're brilliant.
My son is Jem, which is also from To Kill a Mockingbird. It's the boy in To Kill a Mockingbird. So
right.
when we met Atticus and Atticus, we were like, the spooky. We have to meet Jem, and they were like, ooh. Everybody got it. They were like, okay. There's some To Kill a Mockingbird running theme for autism. I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna look into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I met a scout, so there you have it. I think we have the whole cast somewhere we could named.
That's another show.
It's a whole other show. But anyway, I just want to be clear about that, about why Atticus and Atticus, because they were the two Atticuses.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Atticus
Yeah. Watch their web series. They're hilarious.
Honestly, you've got to go to speclabs.org, check out the videos, but you can buy the CDs.
Yeah, you can buy the CDs, and like we said, we share the rights with our artists. So
You can download the music online too.
Okay.
All that info is on our website, and we also have a Bandcamp page for Spectrum Laboratory where you can download the music and download the record.
yeah, with iTunes, I think Jamboree's on iTunes, but then everything's on Bandcamp.
Okay.
But there's links like on our website.
Yeah.
Buy the
Now,
album. Boom.
Just go to the website, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Now, as you guys were walking by at the walk, and we yelled to each other, and one of the first things was like, "Do you have a camp? Do you have something in the summer?"
We're actually going to be really focusing on teaching our artists animation and working on the Chloe film over the summer. Doesn't mean we're not going to do something. We're still thinking about, we might do like a 2-week fun, create a music video workshop or something like that. So we're still thinking about it, but this Chloe an orphan story piece
You're pretty busy.
is pretty, yeah, and Danny has a certain amount of time we can work with her, and we really want to get her teaching some of our students how to animate and get that film done. Because
But if people want for their kids to participate, are you taking new artists to work on the film?
Oh, on Chloe and Orphan
Yes,
Story?
over the summer.
I mean, if there's animators who are really interested, possibly,
Musicians too.
but
Musicians that could perform on the score, I'd be really interested in meeting.
Yeah, plus, I mean, we start our next round of classes up in August.
Okay.
So any new students that come into classes, a lot of our students that are in classes will naturally kind of get involved with the project anyways.
Okay.
Coming to do voiceover work or sing a little bit or, different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Spectacular. I think you guys are amazing and remarkable, and I
Thanks,
love
Shannon.
what you're doing.
Thanks,
And
Shannon.
everybody needs to go and watch some of these videos, get a CD, support, go to Indiegogo. I know you can do without a Starbucks today. We're not asking for you to give it up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But-
Or buy a $7 container at Trader Joe's and then make your own coffee.
There's that too. That gets complicated. Just do without for one day. Support this project and support these young artists and support these young artists.
Yeah.
We thank you guys so much for coming and being with us. Don't forget speclabs.org. All right, we are going to take a break. Normally we would go to the A word, but we're going to do a short commercial break and then come back with an interview with Alex Lynn and Ned Spector talking about Autism Rocks LA, an event coming up later on this month. But first, a short commercial and then that interview. Stick with us. Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm very excited because I'm here with two very important and very special people who are making a difference with an event that's happening later on in the month. Alex Lynn is here with us, and this is a young man that I am super impressed with, and I know that you guys are going to love. And he is here with Ned Spector from Spector Media. Thank you both so much for coming and being with us today. I just have barely met you, but I'm super impressed with what you guys have going on. We've already talked a little bit about this on the show yesterday, but Alex and Ned together with Alex's idea are putting together something called Autism Rocks LA. It's a concert that is happening at the end of this month on Friday the 29th at Universal City Walk.
Yes.
An event to help promote good feeling about autism and giving people an opportunity to perform. You already have secured James Durbin, who we're
Yes.
very familiar with here on the show. We love James. James wanted to be with us on the phone today, but he had daddy duty today for some very important stuff. And I said, thank goodness your priorities are in the right place, James. We appreciate that. But he's going to be there to perform.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
we're hoping that people, we were just saying a minute ago, this is like a movement that you have created. We're hoping people are going to get on board.
Oh, thank you.
You're raising funds for this event and raising awareness. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how people can help, but let's start with the idea. So first of all, Alex, you're 16 years old. You are a high school student. So you are very...
I'm 17, sorry.
Are you 17
Yeah.
now? Oh, since the last time I checked your press, you got older. So 17 years old. This is still incredibly young to be doing this kind of a thing. But you had an idea. But a part of the reason why you had an idea was because you had met this gentleman, correct?
Yeah, the concert, because like once Ned spoke in a UCLA seminar for business management, talked about like sports management, which I'm really interested in.
And was this something at your school that he came to,
Oh,
or
no.
something that you signed up
Summer
outside
camp,
of school?
a summer
it's
camp.
summer camp.
Called Summer Discovery.
Ooh.
And he spoke, and he talked about his Rock the Red Kettle concert, and I was like so impressed about it, and like I just really wanted to work with him because like I really want to jump at every opportunity to try to spread it in a bigger way, improve from what I did in my old school, the Taipei European School in Taiwan, which I did an event there and to educate people. And I just came here because I wanted to like. Someone told me I can make a bigger difference in America, so I'm like, why not? So I just came here.
Brave, brave soul. And a lot of people get inspired when they hear somebody speak. And they say, ooh, I want to do that too. But they don't go, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to start it today. So very impressed that you went, no, I'm going to put action behind this. So you saw Ned speak and thought that he was great. You decided you wanted to do something. What did you do about it?
What I did is I like it didn't work. Like the original plan didn't work out as planned, but I continued talking to Ned about the concert, and in the end,
Did you go up to him when he spoke and say something to him, or did you get a contact and talk to him later?
I actually talked to him during the break.
Yeah.
When he was speaking for like, how long was it?
I think I spoke for an hour.
He spoke for an hour or like 2 hours.
Something like that.
And then like he said like he's gonna contact me and like he liked my idea and we'll keep contacting each other and like I'm like okay. We kept contact for like a long time. November, like he was so inspired by my idea that he wanted to help me, which I'm really appreciative about, and I really feel like it's nice for a person to have so much faith in me, because like that doesn't come by really like a lot.
Absolutely. And we should say, Alex, you told us earlier that you have a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, which is an autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
And clearly that's not holding you back from anything. So I know that all of our viewers love to see a young person such as yourself taking such initiative. So Ned, you're speaking at this event. This young man comes up to you and
Yes.
talks during the break.
Yes.
And you saw something special.
Yeah, well, Alex is awesome. And I was speaking it was at UCLA, and it was a summer program, like Alex said. And he came up to me, and I used to work at a talent agency and then help manage the Jonas Brothers and Demi Lovato.
Really cool.
I had some I had some experiences that I'm grateful to have learned from. And Alex said, I love what you've created with Rock the Red Kettle, which is a concert that I produced for the Salvation Army to help just young kids understand how they can do good with the help of Salvation Army. And Alex said, I loved what you did with that. I'd love to do the same thing for autism and raise awareness. And I said, okay, cool. I mean, this was like at UCLA, and I gave my email, and he emailed me, followed up, called me, was on it, and I just and at first I said, Alex, I was like, listen, I love your passion. I'm happy to give you some advice, but it was just an idea.
Right.
And then he kept following up and with ideas and this, and then finally I sat with it. I was like, you know what? Somebody gave me a shot. I can't deny his passion, his vision, and I told him, I said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I said, once a week, we're gonna do a conference call for 20 minutes or whatever it was. And we're just gonna breathe life into this thing. And we're just gonna get some ideas, and we're just gonna as long as we're consistent with it, we felt like we could do it. So we started with nothing.
Happen.
We started with nothing but his idea,
Right.
honestly. And so the first call I said, well, the first thing we gotta do is we need an artist. I said, who should we get? And what did you say?
James Durbin.
Literally, that was the first thing he said.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I have no idea how we're going to do it. We went and researched it, emailed Jay, and then one thing just fell into place because it was right. City Walk jumped on board, Autism Society jumped on board, volunteers jumping on board, and people love to help him because it's real, it's genuine, he has a vision, and he's an awesome person, and he's really making a difference. And it's an honor for me. I get inspired and learn from him. So it's an honor to be a part of it.
Well, I'm with Alex, though. It's pretty incredible when somebody of your caliber says, okay, I like the idea, I'm going to invest in you, and I'm going to take the time and I'm going to spend time with you,
Yeah.
and then gets further and further into it and says, I'm going to invest more time.
Yeah.
We need more mentors. We need more people like you. We need more
Thank you.
men like you.
Thank you.
Because we have this group of young men who are on the autism spectrum, and they need to have role models such as yourself. So pretty awesomely cool on you.
Thank you.
But you are so impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Your decision to do this and to follow up. Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson, who does the show with us sometimes, she has an expression called being a dog on a pork chop, that you don't let it go, that you keep following up. And I think it's one of the hardest things for us to teach the young generation coming up, but you wouldn't let it go. You kept calling him. What in you decided to do that?
Oh, I'm always very ambitious. Like, since I was born, I was always very ambitious, and like, I want to do on something, I'll just do very well, and like, I learned to channel it, like, not toward, like, it used to be like only to politics, and then baseball. Now I can like transition now, because I learned how to transition, because I found out about it, which I'm really happy about, because I can finally know like, how do I become better?
Yeah.
than I am right now, and I'm like getting all A's now, and I can only get D's in English now. So like I'm all A's right now, so it's a big improvement, and I worked very hard on that, and like, yeah. Just
Well,
like,
you're clearly smart.
thank you.
College is not going to be a problem for you. Sometimes high school is just, I don't know, weird. But I'll bet you in college, you're just going to be the star.
Hopefully.
I think so. So, in terms of this event, you need some help at this point. You're doing some fundraising. Tell people how they can help you.
They can help this cause by like donating to CrowdRise, or like sharing hashtag AutismRocksLA, or go to our Twitter handles, or like on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And we created a logo recently. It's really, really good, and it looks really professional. Which like,
It's because you're a pro.
yeah.
Did you create the logo?
Luckily, we had his kids. He worked with in the synagogue. Help us with the logo, which I'm really thankful about. And then like,
It was cool. It's a class on philanthropy, a group of 9th graders, and they jumped on board. They loved. I told them Alex's story. They were like, "We want to help."
That's good.
Alex
I love
came to
that.
the class. They all designed a logo together, and it was really cool to see them work together.
Yeah.
Like it's that's the kind of event this is. It's just like everyone. It's just like we just keep gathering people because there's just such good will, like genuine will behind it. It's very cool to watch happen, and I'm learning a lot from it. I truthfully. I have never had a friend who has autism, so I'm learning a lot, and it's inspiring.
At what point did he tell you, Ned? Was it in that first
I
conversation?
think it was like the first.
I think it was the first time I told
Yeah,
you.
yeah, and it was just like cool, like
Straight away.
great.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all have challenges, whether it be autism or whatever it is, and I think Alex, as we were talking about it, is using it as his fuel and his strength, and to be great instead of being why me, saying why me.
Yeah.
He's saying this is me, and I'm great, and I'm going to use this as my armor, and it's awesome. It's really cool.
What do you hope to achieve with this concert?
I just hope like a lot of people can understand like, and just end like, one of my friends was Asperger, which I should respect and like not say his name.
Sure.
He told me that like every single day, I know him for like a long time, and I was in this boarding school, and he was my only friend, and he had Asperger's. And that time I didn't know. I knew I had Asperger's, but it wasn't confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I knew him for a few years. I knew his father passed away, and he's having a hard time ever since. And like he had to move schools, and he's having a hard time. From what I heard, a lot of people are like ignore him in the hallways and not happy. He's very upset, and I was gonna give up on the event because the original plan didn't work out as I thought it would, and then like
It almost never does.
yeah,
In life.
and then like the last time I had such a great event at my old school, I thought that like who would turn down like this event, and like unfortunately someone did. What happened is he told me about it, and I was like, like I'm so frustrated. He's still going through such a bad time. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And like it's just I'm really upset that he's going through so much, and like he shouldn't be going through like being bullied or being ignored every single day. And like it's like what I've gone through when I was younger too. Like I was lonely, and I meandered around the halls. I can still remember that picture in my head. It's still very daunting, and it's very vivid, and I can still feel that because it's just like I remember everything. Like it's just like it accumulates, and I still remember it. Like,
But clearly music has something that it does to you that makes you happy. When he said the Jonas Brothers, you lit up.
yeah.
So does music help you to feel better when things are hard?
Sometimes, but most of the time it does.
Yeah.
I love music. I sing in the car, but not in front of people.
You don't do car karaoke?
I do that all the time.
Maybe sometime,
We all do.
We've started a new series here where we do interviews in the car. Maybe you and I need to go in the car at some
how
point.
fun.
No,
Sing a
no,
little.
That'd be
no,
cool.
I don't want to.
I can guarantee you sing better than I do.
No.
I promise you that's the case. But so do you think that doing this concert, that there's anything about that that will help your friend who's struggling?
I just hope people in the school would really appreciate having something that's different there, because you can develop so much from learning about it. I mean, like, it ends so many, 54% of people get their understanding from autism, and then they become nicer. I've seen that in my old school, I've seen it in lots of places, and I mean, a study done by Autism Speaks, which I really admire a lot. And like, from what I've seen, it really creates makes people more patient. It makes them cooperative and more. Because you have to be patient. You can't be mean to them. You can't be like, oh, like you're annoying, or because that's really hurtful. That's really harmful to their feelings, and like, you don't want to like be offensive to them or say that they understand you when they clearly don't.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this has to end, the bullying, because 2/3 of them are being bullied. They have a shorter life expectancy. That's been done recently. I heard about it, and then I looked online and saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Took
this is
my breath away.
horrible.
Took my breath away.
You saw that article
Oh
too, right?
yes, we covered it here on the show.
And I was really upset. And I was like, it makes me even more like motivated and very angry and very ambitious. And I just really, really want to find a way to end this, because like, it's not fair. Like, I mean, I've gone through lots of unfair stuff. Like, I want help on an essay, or like I need some guidance, and the teachers ignore me sometimes. Or in the past, when I was bullied, they didn't care about my requests at all. They keep saying, you're too sensitive, when I'm clearly that's clearly like natural to me. And then people say, oh, you're being a sissy or a weak person, but I'm not, because I'm a true person with true emotions. Like, if I'm sad, you obviously see that, because I can't lie, because it's just how I feel, and I can't block my feelings. And then that's, people can keep saying that to me, but I'm not gonna do what they want. You know, I've been a slave to other people for too long in the past, and I regret doing that. And then in the end, before I left to come here, they said one important thing. They said to be myself, and then I'm happy that they said that.
I'm happy that they said that too. Do you know Temple Grandin? Do you know who she is?
Oh yes, I used her quote right in the beginning of my speech in my old school.
Well, Temple's a friend of mine. She's been on our show a couple of different times. And before you leave here today, we have some very special cows that she signed. And I'm going to send you home with a Temple Grandin cow. And I only give those out on very special occasions to very special people.
Thank you
because
so much.
I know that Temple would be so impressed with you and what you're doing and how you're taking what, you know, other people could just spend their time being negative about it, and you're finding something positive to do. You're the youth that she always talks about. Find what they do well, let them do that. You know, don't wait until they're 22 to give them a job. She's like, let them do what she would just love you.
Yeah.
So she would be thrilled that you would have one of her cows.
Yeah.
So we will send you home with that.
Thank you so much.
We're almost out of time. I want to make sure that everybody knows how they can help. So it's CrowdRise. What do they search to get to the page for CrowdRise?
They can go to autismrocksla.com, and they can press the donate now button, and it takes them to the CrowdRise page. And it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter.
And the name on Facebook is Autism Rocks LA?
No, Autism Rocks Concert.
Okay, Autism Rocks Concert. And what's your Twitter?
At AKLin98.
Okay, so there isn't one for Autism Rocks.
There is.
There is.
Autism Rocks LA.
I should have asked what is the Twitter handle for that.
Yeah.
I asked what yours was. You answered the question. I asked the wrong question. Okay, and what you really need right now is some people to donate. You've had some donations, but you could use some more donations to make it happen.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're about 8,000 right now.
Yeah, it's all crowdfunded. So the idea was to pay for the production of the entire campaign would be people like you and me, just fans that believed in the cause. So we said, okay, the concert's going to cost $10,000. We're at about $8,000 now, so we got about $2,000 to go. That'll cover all the expenses, and then the rest we're going to donate to Autism Society. Yeah.
Which I'm sure they're friends of ours too. They'll love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then is there a cost for the tickets on the
No.
night of?
No, it's a
so
free
it's a free
concert, yeah.
concert happening on Friday the 29th at Universal City Walk. And what time is it?
7 p.m.
Yep.
7 p.m. And we, yesterday on the show, because we've been helping you to potentially
Yes.
find some talent
Yes.
besides James Durbin, and we just did a video piece on a very special drummer. And so Logan Shepherd.
Oh, Logan, yeah.
And I know what a big deal it is to him and his family that he's going to participate.
Yeah.
There are several other talented people that we've been trying to funnel your way that are friends of our show that we've seen. Because I happen to know that our spectrum is very talented.
And I will say, and because Alex is humble and won't say it, but I'm going to say it. She's been awesome helping
Thank
with
you.
talent. Logan is a drummer, has autism, is part of a really cool band with his friends. And I asked Alex, once you came to me, I said, Logan is a drummer, has autism. Wouldn't it be cool if his band opened up the concert? And I said, it's your call, it's your concert, you let me know. And Alex said, I want to make Logan's dream come true.
And you know, I think that's exactly what's happening. It's so meaningful to him.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all these dominoes fall, and I'm seeing how many lives you're affecting already.
Oh, thank
and it's
you.
not the day of yet. And so on the day of, so that's just the people who are getting involved. But on the day of, when people watch this, I want you to take a moment and look at the audience and see what you've done, young man. It's really impressive already.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I
Really good
appreciate
compliment.
you. I appreciate you. We're gonna get you a cow.
Thank you.
And Ned, I'm impressed.
Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna clone you. We're gonna clone both of you, actually, because we do need more mentors. And so, anything else that you want to say about the concert in any way that somebody can help?
Yeah, free show, Friday, April 29th to celebrate autism awareness. City Walk, it's going to be awesome. James Durbin, we're going to have so many people out there. It's going to be a fun night. And if people can support it, go to CrowdRise, type in Autism Rocks, and you'll see it. We're almost there. Would love to help and support.
And
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No?
So like I also want to say like remember Harry Potter World is open. So like you can go to Harry Potter World first, then go to the
Smart.
concert. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Smart.
very smart. Have you seen James Durbin perform live yet?
I never seen. I only see him on TV. I saw him on the finale last Thursday.
Wasn't he good?
Yeah,
in the
he was
finale?
good.
He's gonna rock your world.
Yeah,
He's
he is.
amazing live. I've seen him live, and he's amazing.
Yeah, I'm. When I first saw him on American Idol, I was like, I want him to win. He has an awesome
too.
voice. He had a rocking personality. But that time I didn't know what Tourette's is. But like, but I feel cheered for him. I'm like, why didn't those fans vote for him so he can be first place? I don't get
Yeah,
that.
but there's lots of people that didn't win that have gone on to bigger and better things,
Yeah,
right?
true.
So,
Like Tori Kelly.
and how
Yeah.
about Jennifer Hudson and
Yeah.
Daughtry?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
come on, you don't have to win that thing
That's
to,
right.
to
Yeah.
do well. And James is one of the nicest people
Yeah,
I've
he
ever
is.
met, isn't he?
I called him in January, I think, and like he was super sincere and like really nice and like I just love him. He's a nice
And he's a
person.
good dad.
What happened was, so we got in touch, and after Alex said, let's see if we can get James Durbin. So we emailed him. He emailed right back. He said, I'd love to be a part of this. We all got in a call. I said, Alex, take it away. Tell him what you want. And he told him the story, and James was like, I'm in. So he was orchestrating it. And you should share, before we close, the whole idea was, Autism Rocks. Like, how are you rocking it, whether it's autism or whatever the challenges are? Like you said, I think you should talk about a little bit about, about being different and what that means to you.
So like, my agenda was always for my old school, whatever, till now. My goal was always to like make people understand that this is really the key to understand. Each challenge is what's different in society, and that's really what we need in this society today. That thing like being different is fine, being different is okay. It affected lots of people in my old school. My friend, who is a lesbian, is being accepted by other people in my old school. And I don't know if it was my concert or it was part of it, but I'm glad that she's being accepted because she should, because like I'll be like very upset if I wasn't accepting myself, and I'll be a hypocrite if I said I wouldn't accept them, because I accept them for who they are, and you know they should live their own life, and it's so important because it establishes patience, cooperation skills, and makes people more happier. I mean like this fixes so many problems, and people like look at me like I'm crazy, but it's true. It does. I mean like because like you can't say it's specific to people with autism, and it reflects back to you can't say like straight up mean things to other people that are normal too, or like you have to include other people. The more you include, the more happy you become. You know, that's how I lived my life, and that's how I emulated my grandma, who sadly passed away 3 years ago. I just kept like using her spirit and like of helping people, and just keeping the legacy continuing by making it bigger by trying to do this event. That's how I started in the beginning.
You're amazing,
awesome.
Alex.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're a good man. You're
amazing.
doing great things.
Thank you.
It's
You
just
are
the
doing
beginning.
Great things.
Thank
It's
you.
a movement. Join Alex's movement. Get involved. Donate. Come to the concert. Be there or be square.
Please be there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to be back with more Autism Live after these messages.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick was diagnosed with autism in 1994 at the age of 4. He received 5 years of therapy from CARD that eventually faded out. Nick recovered from autism in 2001.
This song I'm about to perform is by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. CARD helped many patients, myself, to recover to this level now.
Cheryl and Mike's son, Jack Riley, was diagnosed with autism in 2010 at age 2. He's been receiving therapy from CARD for a year and a half. Today, Cheryl, Mike, and Nick meet for the first time.
I'm curious as to what you remember.
I certainly remember pretty long sessions, and I'd be frustrated if I would make mistakes. I mean, I remember one time I had to count a row of 6 blocks, kept messing up. That was really difficult.
No. I need it.
At what point do you recall hearing the word autism?
I was able to figure out what I was going through without anybody having to tell me.
Our concern is if it's a big secret to hide. I don't know what we can say.
No one ever told you, you just discerned
But the
it?
reason I'm comfortable talking about this is because I felt it. In therapy, I certainly began questioning why people reacted as they did based on what I said and did. Particularly because of difficulties I was facing in school. It got to a point where I wanted to understand why it was. So I entered while still going through therapy and still showing significant signs of the mental condition. Even after I'd improved to a significant extent, there were those who still gave me a hard time for it.
Did it hurt your feelings when you were in school, the way that kids...
Oh, absolutely, because it was bullying, it was harassment.
That scares us.
They called me names. I was basically, when it came to sports and PE, I was usually the last kid chosen.
Did teachers intervene?
Fortunately, not really. I mean, it was just so hard for me to talk about it because of how ashamed I felt. Certainly the first few years of elementary school, I don't think I really had the most supportive teachers. I mean, I remember my mom told me how my first grade teacher once said that she thought I had no chance of getting anywhere. And going away to college and out of state and being the only person from my old school district has made a difference. It's just really improved my social life tremendously because I got to be me, because with nobody knowing about my past, I wasn't faced with these misconceptions and prejudgments.
Do you tell people, new people that you meet?
No, that's not the first thing I will ever
No, I would
tell
hope it's not the
and
first
you
thing.
know what? In most cases, I never do, because while it's a part of my past, it doesn't define who I am. I mean, just thinking back to the very beginning, pretty much each episode, autism, what, not who.
I want to tell you right now, though, I'm so impressed with you.
Likewise.
I want you to know that.
Likewise. I mean, your son really inspires me just as much because I'll tell you anytime.
I adore him, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't challenging.
I mean,
it's cost me the stuff that like career things, goals. I don't care about those anymore. I work at night. I'm tending bar. Not that I'm too good for that. I'm just saying that's what I do. I want him to have a chance.
Right.
And you inspire me now.
Thank you. The feeling goes both ways. The feeling's mutual.
Before you leave today, we would like you to meet Jack.
I would love to.
This is Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, Jack Riley.
All right, should we try this? I'm gonna try to take a picture of all of you. 1, 2, and 3.
Jack Riley, you rock.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We have a wonderful guest here with us, a very creative guy. Matthew Aguirre is here with us, and he is an advocate for autism advancements, and he is also the creator of a new product called Rocket Laces.
Yes.
And we were talking just a few minutes ago, and Matthew was an ABA therapist for a while, working with individuals who are on the autism spectrum, and is very concerned about making sure that we have good products for individuals who have different needs, not just people with autism, but all kinds of different needs.
Everybody, yes.
And you're a creative guy, and I'm sure you saw when you were doing ABA therapy that for shoe tying, for some of our kids, they can get it, and it's a pretty easy thing, but for some of our kids, it can be very frustrating. Sometimes those
fine motor skills.
The fine motor skills aren't there at the age that we really want them to be there to be socially appropriate in terms of tying their shoes. It can be overwhelming. So you had an idea. What was your idea?
Well, they always struggle with the fine motor skills. They would learn the process of tying the shoe, but because of the lack of fine motor skills, the laces will flop out of shape.
Yeah.
So what I did was I created a way that the laces will hold shape for the whole shoe tying process. So as they tie, for each step of the process, they don't have to worry about wherever they left off, having to start over or having to focus on holding the bunny ear, if you will. And for every step, it would hold the shape. And that way, for a therapist as well, they could use it for backwards chaining. They could just keep it like that and have the consumer just finish the last step of the process.
Yeah.
And it's simple as that.
One of the things we talk about with ABA all the time is that sometimes when you have a complex task, you gotta pare it down into individual things, but it can be, I know as a parent, it's so frustrating that when you're trying to show which step you're on for the shoe tying, your fingers are in the way, they can't really get a good 360 view of it. If you remove your hands, everything goes away.
Yes.
And the isolating the moment at how the lace goes around is a very hard thing to do.
Yes.
So you've taken that obstacle away in a very, very clever way. So these shoelaces are bendable, they hold shape. Very easily you can move the shape. Obviously you have no problem being able to pull it through. It's not like it's stiff, but
And an extra benefit for parents that worry about sending their child off to school and they come back, pick them up, and there will be an untied shoe. They will hold the knot, so you pull it nice and tight, and because of the stiffness of the structure, it will hold the knot throughout the active day.
So we don't even have to worry about the double knotting with these.
No.
Because that's a whole other Oprah, as they say, when you get to the double knotting thing. Okay, so this is clever. This is really clever.
Yeah, and we were able to sponsor just last August the Special Olympics. We sponsored 6 countries in the Special Olympics. Yeah, and Maria Shriver actually recognized us. She said, this is an amazing thing, and she helped us get some laces out to the athletes there.
Very cool. So it's called Rocket Laces. Yes. How can people get them?
On our website. Actually, it's a partner's website. He makes products for all children. He has
patents going through right now. He released these and for myself, I did it for autism advancements. I want to make sure you get them out to the autism community.
Okay.
And that's why I'm an advocate for them. But they could get it at springcreative.com.
Sprink, not Spring,
like
Sprink. Kelby's got it up there on the screen for them. Sprinkcreative.com. Yeah.
That's correct, yes.
So that's where you need to go.
And right now for the viewers, there's a promo code. It's ADVANCE, all caps.
Okay. And what happens if you put in the promo code?
They get 10% off.
Okay, 10%.
They're already marked down right now too.
Okay. So how much is a pair of shoelaces?
They're normally $9.95.
Okay.
They're $6.95 right now.
And then you could get 10% off.
And then you
of
get
that.
additional 10% off.
Okay, and they come in lots of different colors.
Yes.
So what colors are we talking about?
We have blue, red, black, white, and pink.
Okay, so pretty much anything that you could potentially need, you can get. Do they come in different sizes?
Yes, the common shoelace lengths are 36 for a smaller shoe and 45 for, adult shoes. Some of the longer ones, we do custom orders too. So if you send a message saying we need one for a boot or for a smaller shoe, they do a custom order, they make it customly. There's some custom orders that come in where they want different colors for the occupational therapist.
Yes.
They want one side blue or one side black, one side white, one side black, and would do custom orders like that.
Okay. And because you came up to me at the very end of the autism walk. You came up to our booth and you were like, let me just show you something. And you don't know this about me, but I'm a big, big proponent of finding ways to make shoe tying easier because it was one of the hardest things that we went through. And my son absolutely can tie his shoes now, but it's still it's a thing. And he's at that teenage age where he thinks it's cool to walk around with his shoes untied. So it's a thing with me. And every conference we go to, when people are, we've been to ABAI and there are people presenting papers and they're showing, it used to be 32 steps to teach someone how to tie a shoe and we've gotten it down to 17. I'm at that booth.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit of a shoe tying geek, right? I want to find out build a better mousetrap. What's a better way to do? So I think this is super duper clever. I really love what you've done. I had said to you, there are some places that make shoelaces that aren't like this, that hold the shape, but that they have on one shoelace, they have two places where it shows a little tab of color that you could bring the bunny ear together, because sometimes the kids push. Here, let me show you. They find the wrong place to put the bunny ear together. So they might go up here, right?
Yes.
And that's not going to work. So there are some shoelaces, and so I was saying to you, you can do it with a magic marker, but you were saying we can customize it, Shannon. We can make that happen for you, which made me really happy. But these are smart.
We did actually we put tips for tying. So we sent out an email to maybe every 6 months or so to our buyers, and one of the tips actually was to get stickers. And you'll put a sticker and the markers.
Right.
And that would say, so we'll put green to green.
Right.
And then on this one, we'll put green to green so they know exactly where to.
Exactly. Because, that's a thing. That's part of, if you make your bunny ear up here, you're not going to get the wonderful thing that happens of your shoe being tied. And so you tie the shoe together and it's a mess and you go, it didn't work. You told me the step was to bring them together, but it didn't work. There's finesse. There are things involved in tying shoes.
Yes,
it is not an easy thing.
And it's a big confidence builder.
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. And we got so frustrated with it at one point. There were so many shoes at my son's age that were with Velcro that for a year I just said, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. We're going to get Velcro shoes. But that was a bad choice, because then a year later, when he was older and his feet were bigger and all the shoes were ties and all the boys, it was the cool thing to have the tie shoes. We were a year behind.
Yeah.
You can't do that. This is much easier. This is much better. So again, we're going to Sprink Creative, putting in the code ADVANCE to get them. Now, you mentioned autism advancements, that this is something really important to you, and you mentioned that on this website that there are other products having to do with things that can help?
On the website, currently there's not the products yet. There's patents pending right now for the future products.
And you're not allowed to talk about them?
Well, I could just say what it's for. Is we have one for buttoning a shirt coming out.
Okay.
And we also have a potty training product coming out.
Right.
The potty training one's, it's going to be amazing.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, you'll have to come back when you have that.
Definitely.
So this is what you're doing now, is inventing things to make life easier.
Yes, because when I worked in the field, I worked for 5 years with special needs, and they inspired me to make products to help them, and as well as everyone be able to benefit from it. And that's why when my partner and we did the Spring Creative website. Spring Creative's for everybody to go ahead and go there and buy the laces. But I wanted to make sure to make a point, and that's why I'm an advocate for autism advancements. I wanted to make a point that we want to help the special needs community. They were my inspiration to do this, and that's why I want to make sure they get the benefits. And
Wonderful.
I come to I go to the walks and go help at the Special Olympics and anything I can to help them.
Fabulous. And so is there a place where people can go to learn more about autism advancements?
Yes, the website's autismadvancements.com.
Autismadvancements.com. Okay, wonderful. Well,
it's a group of individuals like myself. They would bring somebody that's really supportive, somebody that's worked in the field, and there's all types of levels. We have even a couple of doctors that help. And what they do is they just contribute by testing products or by trying to discover products. They're very busy people, so whenever someone brings something along to them, it's a process that they take to actually test the things and go through that.
Wonderful. Heaven knows we need more bright minds working on some things to come up with a way to make it easier and to eliminate some of the obstacles. And eventually, after somebody uses these for a while, I'm sure that you can revert to regular laces and they will be able to do it because they've had the opportunity to practice it with that help and support.
Definitely.
It's like training wheels. It's not going to stop them forever, but it eliminates one of the elements so that you can work on the other elements.
Definitely. And I don't really see a way to go away from it because I love that the knots hold securely.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite
And they
parts
look,
about it.
when the shoe is tied, I mean, right now we have a funky shape, but when the shoe is tied, it looks like a perfectly regular shoelace, and it probably lasts longer because of all that goes into engineering them. Nobody would know unless they touched your laces. And even then, you'd have to bend it in order to see. They feel just like a regular shoelace, but a good quality shoelace.
There's an accessory that we're actually launching.
Yeah.
It's going to be hopefully the end of the summer, where what it is, it's going to be like a bunny face here, and you can put the bunny ears up as almost like, as a reinforcement.
Reinforcer.
So
for our little ones.
Yes, so that way you say you tie your shoe, and then you get to put your pet face, and it would be there.
There you
like
go.
that.
And I have to say too, I'm noticing as I'm looking at this, I don't remember anymore what these are called at the end.
The aglet?
Aglets. Okay, I knew that there was a word for it. The aglets on these are really nice too. They're it's not just that clear plastic. Although I think on that one it's different.
Yeah, we had some limited editions. We had last October, we had a team from NASA were going to the stratosphere to conduct some experiments. And one of the teachers, she had heard about us, and she said, "Hey, I would love to take some of these laces there because they're rocket laces."
So they've been to space?
Yeah, so they've been to space. So she said, "I would love to take some of these laces there, and that helped raise autism awareness." So we gave her some blue shoelaces, and they gave it to the NASA team, and they took them up to the stratosphere, and we did the limited editions for that time with the rocket aglets.
I see. So these are the NASA approved ones.
Yes.
Okay, but the rest of them, let me feel that one to see.
Very good quality.
But these are still good quality too. These aren't going to fray like the typical ones, but these are the plastic ones. I love that rocket laces have really been on a rocket and been to. We were just at NASA last summer, and it's a very cool place. Very, very well made shoelaces, I have to say.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And there's nothing in the center of it. If you
I was
notice,
just noticing that.
So you could fasten the shoelace and with no strain at all.
Right.
And
It's just that
the part
the
that you tie.
bendable part is at the end, which makes a great deal of sense.
And the good thing about the plastic aglet on this is that it's a lot lighter than these ones, so it holds shape a whole lot better.
I see.
So that it doesn't weigh anything down like those ones.
But those are cool.
Yeah, but those ones are really cool.
I like them both. Okay, so springcreative.com. Go there, get your shoelaces. And for a limited time, if you put in the code ADVANCE, all caps, you can get an extra 10% off. Fabulous. And then how long does it take before they ship to you? Is it pretty quick?
Yeah, they ship within a week, but there's been times where we've had very high volume orders and it would take maybe 2 weeks to get them out. But right now we're doing pretty good with fulfilling the orders within 3-4 days.
Okay, Rocket Laces, guys. You saw it here. Make sure that you get them and support this wonderful effort. They're great for our kids. All right, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back to close out the show. Stick with us.
Well, today is the One Hope Act Today for Military Families 10K and 5K Run, Walk, and Family Fun Festival.
Thanks for coming out to support this awesome cause.
What I'm trying to accomplish here is to get more people involved, more people to be aware of autism as a disorder so that they can be more involved in this effort to help people find resources.
Pull that belly button in, get a nice balance there.
This is an incredible event. I'm very passionate about it. Autism is affecting so many kids across the United States, and I also support our military.
2, 3, 4. My name's Gunnery Sergeant Sean Tajma, working with the School of Infantry West. I'm currently running with 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. I personally involved with this because my son Jacob has autism. I just want to say thanks to Act Today for what they're doing to help my family and other military families with autism.
Here we go, let's hear it for the 2nd Light Infantry.
Some of the main sponsors here, of course, One Hope Wine is the title sponsor.
What we do is we donate 50% of our profits back to different partner charities, one of them being Act Today that does a fantastic job.
Act Today is very dear to my heart because when my husband was deployed, they were there when we didn't know how we were going to make things happen. They give so much to the military family, and it comes at a time when you just don't know how you're going to make ends meet. So to me, it's more than just an event, and it's more than just a grant. It's a gift.
All right, you guys, have we gone over the rules?
Thank you all to the teams, to the individuals that donated to this fantastic cause out here again this year. The event got larger.
People ask me why military families with autism, why does Act Today have that as a special program? I'll tell you why. Because our military families should not have to fight 2 battles. One, to protect our country, and another, to get services for their children. They move so often. Every time they move, they have to start again. We owe it to them. And it just was a tremendous success. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for taking part in it.
Check this out, Marine. See all these wonderful people? All you gotta do next year, Marine, Devil Dog, 2 for 100, sign up with me, staff or an email, and I'm gonna take you out here, do a little 5K, little PT early in the morning. After that, you're gonna have the time of your life. After that, I might even be able to get you a letter of appreciation, maybe a little libo time. How's that sound?
Sign up for next year because this is an event that comes on and on. It's a win-win situation here.
Welcome back. It's April, which means it's also spring. And what we're going to be doing today is making our very own chia pets. What's cool about this project, it's an activity that you can revisit with your family as you watch it grow and change. All right, now that I piqued your interest, let's get to it. The materials we'll be needing are water, dirt, arts and craft materials, chia seeds, a container, and nylon. So so let's get started. It's super easy. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take an old pair of nylons that you have, you're gonna cut off the toe, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of your chia seeds and sprinkle them at the very bottom. We don't need too much, just a little bit. And then once I've got my chia seeds there, I'm gonna take my dirt and pour that in. And we wanna make sure that we've got quite a bit in there. You want to keep this tail. What this does is acts as a way to soak up the water to feed your little chia plant. So I'm going to take the bottom now. I'm going to tie this into a knot. So now that I've got this little guy, now it's time to decorate him. And you can decorate him however you feel like. What I did is that I made some little features out of felt that I'm going to add to my little guy to give him a face. Now that I've got them all decorated, I'm gonna pour some water into my container and make sure my tail is all nice and soaked up in there. And here's my little buddy. I made a mouse, but you can always make whatever kind of creature your child finds super reinforcing. Make sure they like the little animal that you make so they'll wanna come back and revisit him. As you can see right now, he's a little ball, but hopefully, keeping your fingers crossed, in a week he'll have some hair. With the snap of my fingers, we're gonna go through a week in a few seconds. And oh my gosh, this little guy has changed quite a bit. Can you see how? Yeah, he's got some hair now. You can have your kids describe how this little guy looks to their friends, and you can even work on body parts by having them label all the features that this little guy has on his face. So let's see, what does he have? He's got eyes, a nose, a mouth, and ears. What do you think will happen to him if I stop watering him? Yeah, he probably won't be growing any more hair if I did that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity. I know I did. Tune in next time, okay? And until then, craft on. Bye, guys.
Can you see me? Can you see me flying by your side?
Welcome back to Autism Live. We've had a pretty amazing show with a lot of great people. I wanted to take a second to look at some of the responses that you guys sent in to our question about what are you afraid of. Just bringing those up. So somebody said something happening to me and my ex being 100% responsible for my son. He is aware, but he's not involved in his treatment. And I'm just pushing Seymour and therapy. That scares me more than anything. And then they said, wait, no, not true. Getting that phone call from someone telling me that my son has run off and is missing. I think that is probably my biggest fear. If something happened to me and he ended up with his father, I know family and friends would step up to help him. At least I'm pretty sure they would. But getting that your son is missing phone call by far is my greatest fear. Gulp. Just the thought of it makes me want to throw up. And I want to say that, you know, I don't mean to in any way make light of this. I'm smiling about it because I think what I had said earlier is that my biggest fear is not being there with my son needs me, and it encompasses both of those things plus 30 more that I can think of as well. Because yes, I think for all of us, the idea of not knowing where your child is, and I will tell you that when my son, I happen to know that this young boy is a lot younger than my son. When my son was his age, I was worried about those things, and I remember thinking, boy, you know, is there ever going to be a day when I won't be worried about those things? And later on thinking, well, I'm sure by the time he's 13, I will no longer, at least I won't have to worry about him ending up missing. And I can tell you that that's not happening. And that, you know, we've had a couple of cases in the last year of students that were at college and came up missing. I don't think that's ever going to change. I think I'm always going to worry about that. Another person said that their biggest fear is how vulnerable my daughter is as she gets older. Yeah, you know, they're vulnerable when they're little, but when they're vulnerable later on. Okay, we've got one here that's in Spanish. I'm just translating that my son can have a good style of life in the future. That is something we're all concerned about. Somebody else says, my son getting older and having the expectation from society to be independent. That is not what is appropriate for all of our kids. It isn't, as they become adults. I love this. Karen Delaney, who I love so much, I can't stand it, writes, spiders and other multi-legged creatures. But regarding autism in my son, him running away and getting lost and being unable to ask for help, running in traffic, getting hurt, I'm manic about keeping doors locked and knowing where he is at all times. Someone else who said, for both my sons, I'm afraid of being their only support. I'm a single mom and neither of their children's fathers are in their life, and my family's support is rare. I fear if anything happened to me, they have no one to help them. And I have to say, you know, I don't think I have an answer for quieting all of those fears. I will say again that a couple of years ago, when it was such a place in my life where it felt like a huge elephant sitting on my chest, the stress, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking, what's going to happen when I'm not here? And we were being asked to make some arrangements, you know, to cover all that. And I think it's important to make those arrangements. The only thing that gave me any peace, I'm even having palpitations as I think about it. The only thing that gave me any peace was this idea that I had about, I can't just leave him in one person's hands because things happen. You know, I have seen cases where a family says, well, you know, we're going to leave our kids to this and so person, and that's the right choice in 1984. But then, you know, 1995 rolls around and the paperwork is still done for the person to go to that person, but their life has changed and the kids have changed, and suddenly, you know, tragedy happens and the kids are left with somebody that no one would have chosen in 1995. Right? Or, you know, they still are the people at 1995, but come 2003, they are no longer fit because things change, people change. So somebody had suggested to me not only leaving my son to people that I wanted to, but having someone other than them be responsible for checking up on him from time to time. So, and having that person be his, you know, legal liaison who could continue to make decisions down the road and say whether these people are appropriate for whatever reason. You know, sometimes people get divorced, or, you know, if you're leaving them to a couple and one of them dies, I mean, who knows what could happen, right? But these are the things that keep me awake at night. So I took that and said, oh, I think that's a great idea. And then I started thinking, well, I don't want to leave them with no resources. I have resources. So I need to go to those people now and say, would you be a resource if anything ever happened to me for him and for the people who are taking care of him? And I think that's as important and more important than making sure that there is the financial ability to take care of somebody. I don't think the financial ability is a nothing, you understand. I think, you know, we have to take care of that too. But letting them know who are the resources and having those people already on board, boy, that, I sleep like a baby knowing that that's happening. I won't say that I never worry, but I know if I'm not there, and there are so many different categories of things that he can go, you know, and I've had the conversation with him about, you need a job, here are the 5 people you go to look for a job, right? So that I at least know that he's got those things. So that's just my little fix. It's terrible to live in fear, and especially when it's fear that's attached to love, because we love our kids so much. We don't want to waste the valuable time that we are with them when they are okay living in the fear. So those are the only words that I have for you. And remember to take the breath and take out your insurance policy for mindfulness. Take a few minutes to breathe every single day. And to everyone that's out there, regarding the Robert De Niro plus all the fears that we talked to today, I love when we talk about fear, that you can break fear down into, fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not happening right now. And that's an important thing to help us with the mindfulness. A couple of programming notes. We've got a great set of shows for you next week. Dr. Doreen Grampiche will be with us on Wednesday, as will, we've got a great guest from Lineagen who's going to join Nancy and I to talk about genetic testing, why it's important and why they feel that it's so important that they are a big sponsor often of Act Today events, including one of the sponsors for the ATMF run that we've been talking about. Join Team Autism Live or join Team Wyatt's Warriors. Do this run with us. You can do it virtually. And then on Thursday, we've got an amazing array of guests, really excited about it. We have a young poet who is on the autism spectrum who's very excited that he's going to be with us. And so we're thrilled that for the first time, Russell Lerman is going to be on the show next Thursday. All right, we are out of time, but I want to thank all of you for being here with me. Nancy asked me to mention that there is a screening of Vaxxed here in Los Angeles tonight that she will be at so that she can report back to us next Wednesday and tell us all about that. I will see you. I'm going to be at the Fullerton Cares Mardi Gras on Saturday. If you're going to be there, Kelby's going to be there too, as will my son. Come and see us at the Mardi Gras, and then I will see you otherwise next Wednesday. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.